FIFA 23 is just around the corner, so I thought I would make a 50 quick tips in under 10 minutes video. So hopefully this video will answer most of your questions about how to start Ultimate Team, and honestly, I know I'm going to talk a lot, so let's not waste the 10 minutes, let's get started. Tip number 1, chemistry is now different. It used to be a linking system where nations and players in the same league would link to each other, and you'd have to put them on the same side of the field in order to get that chemistry. And while it is still about nations and leagues, you don't have to put them on the same side in order for them to get links. For example, Trent, Gomez, Henderson, even though they are not linking like they did in the past, they are still getting on that full chemistry. And also there's no more squad chemistry, it's all about individual chemistry as well. If you're still confused by it, type in FIFA 23 chemistry, click the EA link, and up will pop a huge article explaining how chemistry in FIFA 23 works. Tip number 2, work rates can be very important for a specific player. So that means someone like Zakaria, who has great stats for defensive mid, he has high medium work rates, and as for me, he would get forward further than the strikers and would be incredibly frustrating and leave that gap at defensive mid. Tip number 3, build a baseline of skill before you just go in spamming a certain mechanic. If you have to abuse a mechanic every single game and every single time it resets, then you're just not going to be good at the game. So make sure you actually have a baseline of skill first. Tip number 4, Premier League players are going to be more expensive than any other player in any league. St. Max was 30k on September 28th. Everton was about 1,000. But his 5-star skill is really worth an extra 25k early on? Probably not. Tip number 5, sell your players on Wednesday and Thursday and then rebuy them on Sunday or Monday. There is a competition on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday where you try to get some of the best rewards possible. So people are trying to buy those players on Wednesday and Thursday right before the weekend league starts, and then they're selling them once they're done with them and get the rewards on Sunday and Monday. You can see this big drop in price on Sunday and Monday, a little bump on Wednesday and Thursday, and it's like that for the really good players, so keep that in mind when you are getting those players. Tip number 6, use FUTBin. Download the FUTBin app. Whatever it takes, use that site. Using FUTBin will allow you to do a multitude of things, whether it's looking up a player's price, looking at SBC prices, whatever it may be. Tip number 7 would be to look at FUTHead and FUTWiz, apps that are very similar to FUTBin. Tip number 8 is to look at the player reviews on these sites. They can give you an insight on their positioning, how they feel in-game, the pace, the shooting, and passing all have ratings out of 10 as well, so you can base it off of that. Tip number 9 is to make sure to not use the first SBC solution on FUTBin. FUTBin users will provide squads that fulfill the challenge requirements for these SBCs, but make sure not to use the players on the most completed one because that's what everyone else does. Tip number 10 is to know the general trend of some of the cards in this game, whether it's golds, icons, whatever it may be. Again, using FUTBin, you can go to the market and look up certain things like golds and icons, and they can give you a general trend of what these cards are going to be, and if you figure out those trends, unlike me, then you will be able to trade and get your coins up really quickly. Tip number 11, find players who are playing for a big nation in a small league. One example is Gignac. He's French, big nation, playing in the Mexican league, not that big. Finding these players who are higher rated will give you advantages for SBCs and will also be more expensive. Tip number 12, buy rares for 600 to 650 and non-rares for 300 to 350 in the big leagues. Someone like Tadibo, who's not very good, could be used for SBCs, and you can see that in some of these spikes along the graph here. Tip number 13, be sure to do the foundation packs as early as you possibly can. These SBCs are incredibly easy to do, like just putting in one single bronze player and then you get a bronze reward pack back. Doing these SBCs early will give you packs for players that hopefully you can get someone good and sell, or at least get someone usable and use in your squad. Tip number 14, just play the game. You are going to have a very bad squad at the very start, so make sure you just play because winning is not really important early on, you just need coins. And so tip 15, make sure you play those early games in squad battles. Squad battles is you playing the AI, and you can play any of these random opponents at any level as well. You get coins for playing the game, you get coins for winning, and then that also adds to this weekly reward system that you can get for playing squad battles as well. Now once you do get a decent team, tip number 16 will be to play division rivals and foot champs. These are the online modes that you can play in FIFA, and these are where going to be most of the coins are because again you're playing online against actual people. Tip number 17, don't always use the buy now feature, bid as well. Early on it's important to bid so then you can get those players for cheap and then hopefully flip them for a higher price. Tip number 18, use Discord for trading, some of which are actually going to be free as well. If you go onto Twitter, you can literally just type in FIFA trading and a whole slew of people are going to be coming up. If you can't pay, that's obviously fine. There are also going to be traders who have free Discords and free trading apps just in general on Twitter. Tip 19, if you pack someone really good in the first day, be sure to wait another day or two before you sell them. Let's look at Koundé for example. In the opening few days, he was around 20k, 24k, and then after a few days, he jumped to around 30. But also don't wait too much. His price went down dramatically very quickly. Tip number 20, very simple. Don't spend all of your coins at once. You have to have some for SBCs, for packs, and for players. Tip 21, be sure to spread your coins over your entire team rather than just buying one really good player. If you have a 30k team and 25k of it is St. Max, that means the other 5k has to be spread over 10 positions, which means the rest of your team will be bums. Tip number 22, be sure to have some coins left over for improving your team and for investing as well. Tip 23, 23, be sure to avoid the very bad SBCs. For example, this Gundogan card, decent card overall, but he's not worth 600k. Keep in mind this Goretzka card, who's objectively better, came out around the same time and was around 150k cheaper. That being said, tip 24, do SBCs that make you happy. This Boateng card, for example, he's probably not worth 50k and he's not very good, but he was one of my favorite players for the past few FIFAs. Of course I had to complete him. Tip 25, have different colored kits so they never clash and you never have that type of confusion in game. Tip 26, be sure to look at the actual in-game stats because the face card stats could lie to you. Take this Torreira card, 86 defending is alright, but when you look at the in-game stats, the 3 most important attributes of interceptions, marking, and stand tackle are all way above 86. Tip 27, a player's body type matters, usually. Lean body type, usually good. Average body type, usually bad. Stocky body type, usually bad. Unique body type, it literally just depends on the person himself. Tip 28, be sure to watch out for coin sync SBCs. This SBC, for example, gives you 183 plus rated card, but you have to put in 1182 rated cards to get it. Unless you pack something really good, you're going to be putting in way more coins than you have to, which hence the name coin sync. Tip 29, content creators can help you playing FIFA. A lot of content creators can do a lot of things. Inception, for example, does player reviews. We talked about traders earlier. Find a content creator that you like, who's reliable, and they will most likely help you out in the game. Tip number 30, BS is going to happen. You just got to accept it. Tip 31, choose France or Brazil for your starter pack. At the start of Ultimate Team, you'll have this screen pop up where you get to choose your starter pack. Choosing Brazil or France will give you the best opportunity at the start to get those good SBC players so you can complete those SBCs, get better players, get better packs, and then obviously, you know, like win FIFA. You'll win FIFA. Tip 32, be sure to choose a stadium that actually has good lighting and shadows. Be sure to have a good one or else you're going to have a lot of shadows on the field, which will be horrible to play with. Tip 33, there's a way to add multiple players at once into your squad. You press triangle or search at the bottom corner like it says, and you still pull up the same squad list. You can go ahead and press the start or options button, and then you can go ahead and put in multiple players at once. That way you don't have to do it one at a time. Tip 34, when you are at that intro screen and you choose whatever kit you have, be sure to try to pick a popular one because they are tradable and you can sell them for a higher price. And tip 35, badges are the exact same way. Choose a popular one and sell it for a lot of coins. Tip 36, keep the bronzes and silvers from major leagues in your club. You can use them for league SBCs that will eventually come out. So for the Premier League, for example, you need at least 7 silver or bronze players to complete this segment of the SBC. And at their peak, those bronzes and silvers were selling for 5,000-6,000 coins. So be sure you stock up early on and then keep them if you do pack them. Speaking of league SBCs, tip 37, be sure to know which league SBCs are good value and which ones are one to avoid. The Premier League SBC was very bad value because it would take 50 to 60k to complete it, while the league SBC of the Libertadores was about half the price and you got pretty much similar packs back. Tip 38, some player instructions work, some of them don't. For example, if I go to the instruction and I tell Gareth Bale, my right winger, to cut inside, there's a lot of the time where he actually does not cut inside where he probably should. Speaking of instructions, tip 39, be sure not to contradict your instructions. If you have a defensive style of drop back, for example, and you tell all of your players, especially defenders, to join the attack and get forward, that's contradictory and one of those things is going to give, so make sure you know what you're doing. Tip 40, you can edit your game plans for different tactics and formations. So my default formation is the 4-2-3-1, but if I feel as though I need more attacking power, I can switch to a 4-3-2-1, for example. Tip 41, drafts could be good or bad depending on how good you are. If you're really good at the game and you can confidently win each draft, which is winning 4 games in a row, then you might as well do it early on. Tip 42, don't open packs with coins. Just don't do it. It's never worth it. Tip 43, you can switch formation in game, so just use your initial formation for chemistry. If you switch formation in game, the player chemistry does not change even if you put him out of position. Tip 44, be sure to use filters when you're looking for a specific player. Hyunmin Son, for example, has a lot of cards in game, so you can filter that by looking for informs or team of the seasons or whatever it is you're looking for. Tip 45, be sure to look at player traits. If you press R3 to go to your player details, you can go to player traits and a whole list hopefully will show up. Tip 46, be sure to use your preview packs. In the store, you can click on preview pack. It's completely free to look at, and if you get something good, then you can just go ahead and buy the actual pack. But if it's not good like this preview pack, then you can just wait a full 24 hours and try it again. Tip 47, if you open a pack and you get contracts, be sure to keep them if you are playing, but if you're just trading, be sure to sell them. Tip 48, try to snipe some players. This Sun card is around 160k, but you could try to lower it to around 150, 140, or whatever it is, the filter it is that you want to beat, and try to snipe them at that price. That way, if you do snipe someone, then you can just flip them for an easy profit. Tip 49, remember it's just a game. This game will frustrate you. Again, we talked about the BS and all that stuff. All right, just remember it's a game. Take a break, walk away. I can't believe I actually had to put that as a tip, but you know, that's FIFA. Lastly, tip number 50, and probably the most important tip, Left-footed attackers are just better. I swear to God. I swear to God. Left-footed attackers are for some reason better at shooting than any right-footed player. I barely have any evidence of this, but it just feels. So that is going to do it for the 50 quick tips about FIFA 23. If you do have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments down below. My Twitter's also in the description if you want to take a look over there. You can follow me, DM me, whatever, if you have any questions as well. Like I said, that is going to do it. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been DMG. Peace.